Not right, I'm not left, I'm not Republican, I'm not Democrat, I'm not libertarian. I'm a human being that wants the best for the rest of the human beings, and I want some common sense.
What up, YouTube? It's Mike with the Clip Farm. We're back with another one.
Matt with the Clip Farm. Hope you enjoy the video.
So we're not going to do just politics here on this channel. Today we're going to talk about what really drew our attention and started doing a little research for ourselves was all the stuff happening in Dubai. But we'll kind of play the story off. So we're talking about cloud seeding. So here's a quick, just a picture of what cloud seeding is. You can see, and then I'm going to play this video here. Well, there's a couple videos, and we're going to play these and talk about them and talk about a couple of other things as well. We also have this quote running down here by Old 45. I'll read that at your leisure. Let me see. But you may want to know what is cloud seeding. This is coming directly from DRI, which is .edu. Was it dri.edu?
I think so.
And this is there. So I'm just going to read the highlighted portion. Cloud seeding is a weather modification technique that improves a cloud's ability to produce rain or snow by introducing tiny ice nuclei into certain types of subfreezing clouds. This provides a base for snowflakes to form. So there's a lot more. There's a lot more stuff here, scientific about it, and you can go into it.
The most common substance they use to create these ice particles is silver iodide. Which, look into that. It's not exactly a safe substance.
And then we'll play, this is a 3 or 4 year old video. I think we'll be playing most of it, so bear with us, but this is kind of an older video, and it explains and kind of shows you cloud seeding.
County, home to one of the longest running cloud seeding operations in the country. We've got some ground-based cloud seeding equipment right here, and we're going to get to hear all about how it works and see it in action. Let's check it out. Cloud seeding is the most common type of weather modification, and it has many different techniques and applications.
Weather
Today,
modification.
It's mostly used to increase snowfall, reduce the size of hail, and reduce fog at airports.
Traditionally, cloud seeding has been done from the air. So airplanes have had racks on them where these same flares are positioned on the airplane, and the airplane flies into the storm. So in order to reduce the cost of the client and reduce our carbon footprint, we've been able to station these on the ground. Now, we can do this in places where weather permits.
Behind a barbed wire fence designed to keep away curious cattle, the cloud seeding gear awaits the right kind of weather.
So these are referred to as AHOGs. That stands for Automated High Output Ground Seeding Systems. We've got 3 primary components of our equipment here. The first is the control module that you see behind me. Then we have our actual cloud seeding flares. The cameras for security. It also helps us observe weather conditions in real time and make sure that all of the equipment is operating correctly during a storm. Inside these canisters are the flares with the seeding agents. The canisters are used as spark arresters, so they prevent sparks from reaching the ground. So we pull off the spark arrestor, you can see the flare inside. The ignition of the flares are controlled from the control module that's behind us. So the white triangle there is a cell service modem, and then the solar panel keeps us powered. Inside we have a battery and then a control board. So the control board interacts with the software. We're linked or synced with the software in Utah currently, and that allows us to fire or ignite any of the flares from that remote location.
Because of the lack of clouds and proper wind conditions, today is not a good day for cloud seeding at all. But Garrett and his team are going to light a flare for us anyway, so we can show you how it works. There's just one small problem. The battery in the control module died shortly before we arrived, but it's nothing a little jump start can't fix. After a little juice from Garrett's truck, it's time to stop the flare.
The primary seeding agent in this is silver iodide. Silver iodide is a simple compound. It's polar in nature like water, so there's chemical properties that help attract water molecules to silver iodide. It's also structured molecularly similar to ice. So it helps generate or helps spawn the generation of ice buildup. And then that becomes a hailstone or a snowflake that falls here primarily as rain. So one flare like this has billions and billions of potential sites for that water to congregate around. We'll launch them in sequences. We watch the radar to see when bands of the highest concentration of liquid water are passing above us in the clouds. And we try to target those high concentration pockets in the storm systems. We'll launch between 3 and 20 flares for a typical storm. Once the flare is lit, it takes a little bit of time to carry up into the clouds. And once it's up at the proper elevation, it'll take...
I'll pause it here for just a second so we can talk for a little bit. To me, what all this seems like, and you look at all that shit that's going out of that flare there, seems like that's doing a lot more damage than, say, my 70 C10 truck is doing.
Yeah,
to the environment.
They said they launched or used like 5 to 20 or so of those flares at a shot. So, like I say, the silver iodide in small concentration is not a big thing, but that's not a small concentration, is it?
No, and it to me, what it seems like, they're creating storms, and I get that they're trying to say like things like we're trying to make the hail smaller, things like that. But essentially, they're not. I'm not necessarily blaming these individuals here that are showing the technology, but in general, we're modifying weather across the world, and that has an impact.
Yeah, one spot is going to affect the weather patterns around it exponentially.
But me and you, we're both not really very religious people, but we both do believe that there is a higher power, and we're, as people of this earth, are fucking screwing with this shit, and we shouldn't be.
Designs.
But this is a picture of one of the storms that was created by cloud seeding, and obviously this has been enhanced to make it look really awesome. But I've listened to a lot of people talk about climate activists and different things, and they're talking about storms and hurricanes and tornadoes, and things have gotten way worse. And I'm tending to not disagree with them, but it's not because of our gas-powered cars. It's not because power plants. It's because of shit like this.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not entirely convinced that things have gotten worse. The number of tornadoes and hurricanes and that kind of things fluctuates year to year. But overall, over the last 80 years, I don't know that we've actually gotten a general increase. At least I haven't seen numbers to back that up.
Well, I know we get being that I live on the East Coast, we get a lot of hurricanes, but in the last 15 or 20 years, I haven't noticed any more than usual.
Right.
Florida gets hit all the time. I mean, they named their damn college team the Hurricanes, so be proud of what you got there in Florida. But anyways, we'll play the rest of this video, and then I got another one that's going to kind of bring it back to Dubai, because that's kind of where this whole story is interesting to me. But yeah, it was just
20 minutes to instigate the rain or the snow process. So overall, you're probably looking at about 40 to 45 minutes before you're seeing the maximum result. And that's why we're stationed miles away from our target area. So we have very specific targets that drain directly into major water basins, and we time these events to correlate with rain above those intended targets. One of the biggest questions, or most common questions that we receive, relates to the safety of silver iodide. Silver is biologically inert, so it will not interact in a negative fashion with plant or animal life. Iodine is actually a critical building block of a number of hormones.
I'll stop there. That is incorrect.
Yeah. I don't have a citation for this, but the silver ion is among the most toxic of heavy metal ions, particularly to microorganisms and fish.
See, I don't know if it's affecting plants necessarily, but it's certainly. Here, I'll pull up this quick little story here from Al Jazeera.
Yeah, well, I saying that's very relatable because he was just saying this water, is targeted to go into, areas where it will go into the water reservoirs.
Right. Well, this is the Gulf, but yeah, nonetheless, they're targeting water streams. And now I'm not saying that this is necessarily what is causing this, but we are noticing a lot more events like this where you just have a massive amount of dead fish washing up on shore and birds and other shit, and it's becoming more and more common. It's really sad. I would suspect that there's probably a link between these. Let me make that small again.
Yeah.
But the proof isn't there, but nonetheless, man, we're playing God, and there is repercussions. And so, these fish, these ones washed up on the Gulf, this could have been an oil leak that caused this. My point, though, however, is these kind of events are happening often, and they're not necessarily reporting on it. So, like I said, this was just an article I found that was relatively recent. This was from 2023 from Al Jazeera. So if you want to look it up, I'll leave the link in the description. But I think we're good on that video because he's just going to kind of talk about other stuff. I'll play the other one in Dubai, but that there is some cause and effect all the way around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people talk about the Mandela effect all the time. One thing causes another, causes another, causes another. We don't have the proof to back it up, but this kind of looks like one of them situations to me.
Right. And so this is a very short video. And this is going to kind of be talking about what's currently happening in Dubai. I think we only got to play about a minute of this one. So I'll hit this one.
We're overwhelmed with the heaviest rain ever recorded there. Areas are still flooded days later. Some reports blamed a method of making rain called cloud seeding. The rains began late Monday. 24 hours later, more than 142 millimeters had fallen. That's 50% more than the annual average.
It was absolutely horrendous, worst I've ever seen it in Dubai. And we've seen some bad storms in the past, but this was like nothing else.
The United Arab Emirates has, in recent years, explored using cloud seeding to make rain. It's called cloud seeding because planes, drones, or rockets seed clouds with substances like silver iodide. The iodide attracts water molecules, which build up. When they get heavy enough, they fall as rain or snow, depending on the temperature. Drones can also electrically charge clouds with lasers. Many countries, including Canada, use it to increase precipitation, maybe to fight wildfires or drought, or to reduce damaging hail. But despite being invented more than 80 years ago, it's hard to track if cloud seeding helps.
The challenge is partly because no two clouds are the same. And so you can't compare what a cloud might have done before you seeded it with what it did do after you seeded it.
Experts say 3 storm.
Here's what I say you do. Stop fucking with Mother Nature. How about that?
Well, I was saying that woman saying that, well, every cloud is different. Well, yes, but there has to be a metric where you can figure out how to better do it, at least. But they're not even, by the sound of it, they're not even trying to figure out what that is. They're just, oh well, throw some silver iodine up there, see what happens.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, this method was found in California, cloud seeding, and they were going through a record drought, and they had done this, and California had received ungodly amounts of rain, and when you live in the desert, that's amazing. But we're constantly dealing with, I'm not going to say superstorms, but there's a lot of shit. And are we the ones affecting it? Are we cloud seeding and then bringing in hurricanes? Are we like, if you have warm, it's just, there's a lot of questions here. And in my opinion is we shouldn't be fucking with the weather.
Yeah.
If I have to give up my gas car in, I think, what do we got? 6 more years and I have to go electric. I'm having to do shit. They need to start doing shit too. Stop fucking with the weather.
Yeah. Well, and when they do these cloud seeding projects, okay, they're taking moisture out of the air for a specific location. Now what happens to the people downwind? Well, they ain't getting no rain because there ain't none left, or they're getting far less than they normally would. So, you know, what you do in one place has an impact down, you know, like I say, downwind. It's gonna screw the weather patterns up.
Right. And yeah, I'd like to find out more info on, you know, what it's actually doing to wildlife and plants. I suspect it probably doesn't mess with plants too much, but I do suspect it is affecting wildlife.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I say like the article I was reading said, it's silver iodine is particularly toxic to fish and microorganisms. Well, microorganisms may not sound like that big a deal to most people, but kelp and a lot of the, you know, underwater food that the fish eat are microorganisms. Very large ones, but still.
Yeah. And like I said, man, we don't need to be fucking with the weather ever.
No.
We shouldn't be fucking with the weather, period. Let us know what you think in the comments. Did we hit a interesting aspect of this? Let us know if you know more about this than us. We're open to a conversation. If you think we're just dumb as hell, shit, leave that in the comments too. Appreciate it. There's all free speech here on the Clip Farm. So write whatever you choose, and I guess we'll see you in the next one. This one was a little bit longer than we normally go, but we greatly appreciate you coming out watching us. Have a good one, everybody.